Owen Wilson is gonna get his family out of an Asian country and back to the United States so he can be in Zoolander 2. No Escape, directed by John Eric, and I'm not sure how to say this last name, so I'll just spell it Dowdle. This movie stars Owen Wilson, Lake Bell, and Pierce Brosnan. And with Pierce Brosnan, he doesn't get that much screen time, so if you're thinking that this is going to be a team up between Owen Wilson and Pierce Brosnan, when you see the movie, you're going to be disappointed in that regard because Pierce Brosnan's barely in the movie. The plot of this movie, Owen Wilson plays Jack Dwyer, a guy from Texas who gets a job as an engineer with this company in Asia. There's no specific name of the country that he's going to. All we know is that it's somewhere in Asia. I was looking at the map of Asia and trying to judge where they were based on where they end up at the end of the movie, and it looks like where they are could be somewhere like Laos or Cambodia or Thailand, or maybe that little island underneath China, somewhere in that vicinity. So he takes his family over to this Asian country because he has this job that he has to do there. When he gets there, they are getting settled in. He decides to go out and get a newspaper because he wants to see what's going on in the world. And as he's buying the newspaper, he sees on one side these SWAT cops coming out, and on the other side he sees these group of rebels or terrorists, and he realizes he is in the middle of a war zone and he's got to find a way to get his family out. These terrorists or rebels are killing Americans, and he has to find a way to get his family to the American embassy or someplace safe, and that's pretty much our movie. Now, Owen Wilson has done an action movie before, Behind Enemy Lines with Gene Hackman, which was a very good movie, but this movie is not as good as that. He does try his best with the script and the direction he's given, but for some extent he may not be the right actor for this role, but what he does with what he's given is pretty good. Lake Bell plays his wife in the movie, and she was very good, although the movie doesn't really give much time for them to develop any chemistry. The two girls that play their daughters, they're very good in the movie. And then we have Pierce Brosnan, who's barely in the movie. He gets like 15 minutes of screen time, and right from the beginning of the movie I knew exactly what was going to happen to him in this movie. It was so predictable what was going to happen to him. Just from the fact that the credits say, and Pierce Brosnan, and it was like, oh, well, now I know what's going to happen to him. And I was right, unfortunately. The action is very suspenseful in this movie. My heart was pounding right through the whole thing. So there are the positives. So let's talk about the negatives of this movie. Too much slow motion. Sometimes when you don't need the slow motion. Yeah, there was way too much slow motion in this movie. I can understand having slow motion when the family has jumped from one rooftop to the other and Owen Wilson has to throw his, this is not really a spoiler because it's in the trailer, he has to throw his two daughters from one roof to the other as well. But there was so much slow motion, it was really getting annoying in the movie. Some of the action is a bit overkill and didn't seem to make sense. At what point, this is a spoiler, the terrorists are shown to have a tank, and I was like, where on earth did they get a tank from? And this negative concerns is with the advertising of this movie. I really wish when I was going into this movie that I didn't know when they were on the roof trying to find sanctuary from the terrorists, and they see a helicopter coming. I really wish that I didn't see what was going to happen with the helicopter in the trailer, because the trailer spoils what happens with the helicopter in the movie. And if I didn't see that and going into this movie, the shock and surprise of it would have been much better. Unfortunately, you are spoiled if you watch the trailer and find out what's really in the helicopter. But I still like this movie pretty much. However, this movie is really just a rental. It's not that good of a movie. So I don't really think this is a bad movie, but I just don't think it's really that good of a movie to see in the theaters, really. So I'm gonna give this movie a C+. Basically wait for Netflix or Redbox, and that's all I gotta say for No Escape.